between all of these teams. Froz, going into our final game on Miramar, looking at our current bottom 8 situation, which are the teams that you think can step up, maybe make that jump into the top 8?
Envy is one of the teams, at least. We saw a little bit more life from them coming out. And right now, yeah, they're in 9th place, just 2 points behind, I think it was. So they got a good chance here to actually make it out from the elimination group. They don't want to be staying down there.
This was a hashtag Frozball prediction, to pick the 9th team.
What do you want me to say?
No, I'll take it. I'll take it. How about yourself, Avenger? Are you going to pick 10th?
No. Wait, that's Gex. No. I want to pick. No, let's make an actual ball prediction here.
Okay.
I want to say infantry. Even though if Tempo does hot draw them, try to take the drops away from them, or whatever happens, I think they're going to prevail a little bit. I think they're going to have a good game. This get them started. They got a good 2nd place. They had some really good macro, 4 kills to their name as well. If they manage to get a good start, get the snowball rolling, they're going to be jumping into that top 8.
All right, I'm going to hit you with the same question. Since I got those two...
I mean, I think I already kind of said it. I think this is Envy's map to potentially come in big on. I think that they thrive on Miramar, and their consistency is good. Infantry's been very spotty for me. I hoped to see more, but all I've really been seeing is sort of them getting caught in tough rotation. So Envy, I think if they can tighten up a little bit, look for those kills, and find a good center position to just lock up and hold, I think they're going to be advancing.
And here is Envy at the moment on your screen, looking poised and trying to push on through. What do you think, Froz? Obviously, you said that you think that they might be able to kind of push through into that top 8. And by what means would they be able to get themselves there?
So this is something we always see in the national stages. NA on NA action. They fight each other ridiculous. For some reason.
They do in the interviews as well.
I know.
They only like to play the same spots, all of them. I want to see them to change that up a little bit, take some fights against the other teams, because you got to be able to fight everybody, not just the teams that you know and you normally fight in your league.
I mean, the reality is North America's hardest critics and North America's biggest fights are against North America. They're hard on themselves, and they fight each other. The rotations are very commonly lumped up. They think the same way. We literally saw Tempo and Envy on top of each other. Then we see everybody else coming in and Ghost right on top of them as well. So I think that that's the other thing, is get away from these guys who think the way you do and try to get outside the box a little bit.
I'm going to go outside the box, actually, and go bigger picture. For me, when I think about North America and esports and stuff like that, there's a lot of big personalities in North American esports. You think that might be one of the reasons why they're always kind of butting heads with one another?
I think that yes, and I think that they've started to fix that. We've seen teams like Envy, who Moody used to be sort of a big over the top. McCoy was over the top. These guys have sort of learned, hey, this is a team game. Everything is about making it work as a team, finding the right shot callers, and working together.
Get some humble.
Get some humble pie, because that's the best dessert.
All right, let's get into it. It's the final game of day number 1 here at the PGC. Let's over to our commentators once again.
Thank you so much. 1 more game today, 2 more days to go for the weekend, 3 weeks throughout the entirety of PGC. But one of the questions I am keeping my eyes on, Ace is presently in first. OG and Intus Face is up at the top of this, and back behind it is FaZe. It's the first time we've kind of seen that switch up. FaZe has been up towards the top of the leaderboard for quite a while. I mean, I thought we were going to be talking mostly about 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, because that's kind of where I want to be keeping my eye at. Probably going to be our biggest talking point throughout this game.
I mean, we definitely will keep an eye on that.
But Ace and FaZe, that's going to be big too.
Yeah, look, you do want to come on top of your group as well, right? You want to show that you're one of the best here at PGC, win your group, but at the end of the day, let's be realistic here. You just want to make top 8. I think most of the teams and players here just want to make sure they make top 8, make it to the semifinals next week, and that's their goal. Now, we're going to have 8 missed out. Whoever's 9th at least is going to be going on to Sunday with a lot of points.
Speaking of points, look how close that is. Across the board, 7th through 10th right now is only 7 points, and there's just 2, 3 points between this. We talked about it earlier. 1 or 2 kills could be that break point between playing on Sunday or not.
I think looking at the rankings that we saw before, you could probably make a case all the way down to 16th, all the way down to G2, which surprisingly is in 16th. But hey, someone has to be, right? And all these teams at PGC are top teams. Now, they would have to have a big game. And I think on a more realistic note, you're probably looking at around teams from 6 to 13 or 14 maybe that have got a real solid chance of making the top 8. But G2's still in the race. They need a win, they need a big game, and who knows, maybe they could pinch a spot.
So to look at it, you get 10 points for getting first place. You get 1 point per kill. Right now, we're looking at 10th place with 21 points. We've already seen multiple 10, 11, 13 kill games coming in. one big game can get you those points that you so desperately need to get you into the top 8.
The other side of the coin, though, is the teams that are inside of the top 8. T1, VC Gaming, if they have really good games, that just makes it 10 times harder to get yourself into the top 8. But if they go out early, the other side of the spectrum, then it opens the door.
So here we go. We got SK Telecom, T1 coming in. One of the most, I guess, storied names inside of esports, specifically when you look back over towards Korea. These guys right on that cusp position. They're in now, but a bad game today, and this time will just be so detrimental.
Paper Thin keeps talking about Akkad and how good he is for T1, and well, so far they are doing just enough, but that's after 5 games. It's a matter of how they're doing after 6 games. That matters more than anything. Team Envy,
The Destiny. Envy is so good on this map. They often kind of separate out, do traps around the northern part of Los Leones, and come up with big takeaways. They'll get a kill, maybe 2. They've even taken down squads off of that rotation. Something to keep an eye on around Los Leones and how we move into this. But you can see, game is getting underway. We've got a very easy playing path. It's going to be starting off on the west, going to the east, directly through the middle of the map. So lots of opportunities, lots of good places for people to drop.
Yeah, exactly right. Final game of the day is upon us.
All right, so you can see early drops coming out. It's going to be Red Knit's FaZe, Navi as well. We also have Vendetta coming through. A lot of people pushing off on that western part of the map. It's going to be a couple of slow droppers through. One of the things I want to keep an eye on, talked about it earlier, scrims. We saw Tempo Storm and Infantry fighting around Impala. Let's see if that actually pops off on this. We do have Rascal Jester pushing off on one side of this, Ghost going back over towards this push. We often see them go back over towards Minas. No big surprise there. T1 making the push off the side, and a lot of people dropping off here.
And the thing is, what's so great about the points transferring over?
Uh-oh, look at what I see.
Oh,
The
I
push
was about
over
to
towards
say,
Impala.
maybe you wouldn't make a drastic play because your points do carry over. You don't want to go out with no points from this final game
Think
of the
of
day.
how big the game could be if you do manage to eliminate them. You now have control over the entirety of the East, and yep, they're going to be dropping right on top of each other.
Risk
It's nosedive
versus
straight into
reward
Impala.
in a nutshell.
But we see teams like Infantry, they sometimes just throw Risk out the window. They're like, there is too big of a reward for this, and we want it. Tempo Storm, they just got a nice victory. They're looking back over this. They're pretty hyped. Looking onto it, Circle pops on the other side of this. This fight has to end so fast.
They just got into the top 8.
Yeah.
You say they just got a victory. They just got in the top 8. Maybe how quickly they could find themselves out of the top 8.
Zampa's looking around. He doesn't have
Infantry
anything
can
to
wipe
work
them
with.
here in Impala. This is so crucial.
Okay, so you can see Longsker looking around, seeing if he can find an angle for it. Sharky's trying to protect the rest of his teammates. Zampa's jumping back down, back behind this. Got to be so cautious. When you play this early format, you have to look back, get a gun, get a helmet, get anything you can just to get a little bit more survivability. You can see, we even have VSSs coming into play. I think one of the infantry players off in the distance had one of those. Now, looking back over on so many angles, it is so dangerous. To note, Tempo Storm is on the outside of this, and infantry is on the inside.
The
towards
Winchester,
the circle.
2.7 times scope,
yeah, let's
of
get it.
course. Could we see it in action?
I mean, it's a powerful
The
weapon,
VSS is old
especially
news.
very, very early game. So that's the play right there. Let's just double it up. Let's go VSS and Winchester. Okay.
It's old news. Let's look at the Winchester instead. But, you know, you were talking about finding a gun. And yes, fair enough. But you also want to keep an eye on where the enemy is. If you don't know where they are, you might just walk around the corner.
Think of how stressful this is. Whenever you're
surprised.
jumping in and you want to avoid playing on Sunday, you need to have a big game. And now you have to loot, and you know you have to cross the map. You have about 3 kilometers to at least make it to the edge of the circle.
Yeah.
So everybody's trying to loot safely. You can see usually one person will cover, look around, feed information over, let the other 2 kind of loot up, so that way you can kind of cycle this out. But it slows down the looting process so much. It's a handicap to both teams. If they don't actually get a clean kill and a clean victory out of this, it's going to make it very tangled, very long and drawn out, and a lot of damage with very poor looting coming into play, which is going to hurt them so much in the late game.
Of course, the Blue's not going to be moving for another minute and 15 seconds.
Oh, Mickey's found himself in a little bit of fun as well. Rascal Jester, as you can see, looking off to one side. Mickey hears it, just waiting for the door to open. Easy peasy, goes for the spray, gets him. Gonna go ahead and flush it out as well. So that's gonna be 1 point going over towards Ace, who's again at the top of the leaderboard right
He
now.
only had 8 more bullets left. He almost didn't make it easy peasy for himself. Infantry.
Looks like they're getting a little bit of a line of demarcation right now. You can see that everybody from infantry is making their way back down towards the south, trying to get a little bit more loot, trying to get that road control, looking around for vehicles, trying to make sure that they can get the separation out. They know where the vehicles are going to drop at, so at least take that. Deny it away from Tempo Storm, because then that makes the walk, while they're looking for more vehicles, that makes more damage. We talked about it beforehand. make sure that you're inflicting as much potential attrition damage as you can. You might not get the kill, but make their life miserable.
You also don't want to stick around here for too long. If you're infantry, yes, you want to get the kills, and as I said before, it's risk versus reward. But if they take so long, by the time they find themselves pushing towards the circle, they're not going to have a space to even put themselves into.
I think that Tempo Storm is aware of what's going on,
I think it's time to go.
But it's too late back over here because you can see if they managed to catch infantry while they were getting in this vehicle, spraying down 3 people inside of it, that would have come up big for them. So infantry is just fine, jumping in here, separating out.
Well, you say they're just fine, but like
we talked about, like they're alive. We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
But I feel
hopefully
like
they can find a vehicle along the way.
This feels like an international rivalry we have brewing right here between these two teams, and it's just the first day of PGC.
I don't know if Tempo Storm's got a vehicle close by.
Not a lot to work with.
Infantry is going to be stealing up all of them along the way.
I mean, there's a couple of them that are around them, but they're not on easy rotation points that they want to go grab right now.
In saying that, 40 points for Tempo Storm. Look, I think they will be fine, even if they were to go out with...
They're probably pissed. I would say that. They're like, okay, yeah, you come in, you drop in, you take our vehicles away, and they're running in, and they're going to get the better position because with that Western Circle, we didn't even get a chance to talk about coming in late means the fact that all the territory is already going to be claimed.
Yep.
So it's almost like an inadvertent, like...
Well, they might be upset, but at least they're not playing Sunday.
Like, yeah, that's true. I mean, but infantry is probably driving away, like, giving them the bird as they go.
Probably.
So Tempo Storm looking back over towards this, you can see
Look how
already
contested it is.
Yeah, everybody's playing center on this circle. They know the fact that it's going to try to shift away from the water. There's the river that's inside there, so most people are going to be playing north, back over between Monte Nuevo, back down towards the river itself, canal, I guess I should say. And so now a lot of teams already in movement points. Talked about Envy. They like to set up, try to get a couple of kills early in positions around Miramar.
I like Navi's spot if it does continue to go out west towards that Death Valley. They got a decent spot. North of them is Gex, but besides that, they've basically got the entire western side of the zone to themselves, as we see Armory Gaming pushing up to Monte Nuevo.
Most of the big plays I feel like we saw internationally coming up from Armory Gaming were on Miramar. It was playing these high positions with... We saw Duckman's feeding so much information over to his team, taking shots at, like, I don't know, 500 meters at teams and hitting them, buying more space for his team. But a lot of these circles haven't favored the way that they like to play in those high hill locations. Now, I think the Toffees hit it a second ago. When we move over towards the west part of the circle, part of this map, everything goes north-south. It's so hard to cross east to west, and so that's why you see a lot of these teams trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this push? It's those roads coming out of Valdemar make it so difficult to just run directly one direction west.
That's why you see a lot of teams fat wrapping and going down all the way south, for example. You got NV down there as well. DJ Boy.
He's had himself a great day. He's had a couple of standout moments right now. I want to say he's been a big powerhouse for their team.
A big reason why they're sitting in 8th right now. 25 points for VC Gaming.
Gex also making their push back over towards it. They're in that 10th place position, just 2 points back behind Envy, who is 2 points back behind VC. So Gex looking to try to have themselves a big game as well.
And I just say, if Envy can find their way into the top 8 here after this game, you'll have all 3 North American teams.
Thank you for saying it. I didn't want to say it.
Oh, you were sitting there the whole time.
I was sitting there
like,
thinking it. It was in my head, but I'm like, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to let somebody else say it because then there's no regional bias. But yes, there is that chance that we're going to have 3 North American teams push on forward. Yep. But, I mean, we already have OCE sitting in a good spot, so hey, love it.
We're all happy. We're all happy.
Well, we are, but Analyst Desk might not be so much. All right, so a lot of people centered up right now. A couple of late rotations coming in. We knew it was going to be Tempo Storm. One thing I do want to note is we do have Navi that's taking the shots back over towards Gex, and Infantry did stop in the southern part of Los Leones, which means that they might actually be in a position, depending on how Tempo Storm rotates, to kill Tempo Storm.
Yeah, it's a great spot that Senya's holding, actually, just holding further back, just to make sure he can see any teams that are around, like Aduzi and Pokemolodoy, for example, who are a bit closer to the edge of that Death Valley. So really smart play, good hold. They've been able to spot out Gex. They've got their location now, and that's just Navi playing it really smart. 50 seconds till phase number 2, and this is going to really determine how this match is going to play out.
I mean, this is just Miramar in a nutshell. You can see long-range shots coming through. Again, everybody's going to burn off that armor right now. Everybody's done their looting phase. In this area, there's going to be some loot nodes out and around, but most of them are already going to be taken. So if you can manage to knock off somebody's helmet,
yeah,
easier to kill later on.
Tempo Storm are still in the blue. They're going to be taking a while to make their way to the circle, but they will at least be able to have some vehicles, as Infantry actually only just made their way in now.
I mean, with Tempo Storm, we had to expect it. They had to go vehicle hunting. They had to finish out their looting process.
Yep.
They're always going to be the tail end of the circle. But one thing to note about Tempo Storm, that's the way they play. They often come out in the blue very late and then make a very southern rotation moving through. So going to have to keep an eye out on how many people have done research and are aware of that.
Any final wacky circles
I'd
play
say,
out?
oh, let's just go Valdemar. I like it.
I don't mind
like it.
Valdemar.
Let's make it a little bit spicy here, because one thing to note, there's a little bit of that island down to the south still in play. So guess what could happen?
Well, you say could, but it's probably not going to happen.
It's probably not going to happen. Let me have my dreams.
Don't get your hopes and dreams up. Not
Let me
just
have my
yet.
dreams.
But if you are NV, I love this circle for them. They could just push in along the south coastline.
Oh, a lot of rotations coming in. You can see Envy already on the move, but there's going to be a couple of teams dropping down right next to them. Infantry is going to be coming up across that hillside. So we might have a couple of vehicle skirmishes depending on how they rotate through this. A lot of teams already on the move. We could have a Mad Max style moment where there are tons of teams just stacked on top of each other, taking pot shots back and forth.
There's some Tokyo Drift from Pat Caps there in the truck. This is not too horrible either for Tempo Storm when they're coming in late here, because they've come in from the south side.
Yeah, everybody was expecting Sentries.
They might actually meet back
this.
up with infantry.
If they actually opt to go back down south and go towards the island, Prison Island, then they'll have tons of space to work with, because a lot of teams don't want to push into it.
Potentially more NA versus NA action on the card. And it's gonna be NV
shots coming
versus
through.
Tempo
It's
Storm.
like you called it out before it was going to happen. Tempo Storm getting some shots coming at them from Envy. Tempo's going to be able to make it out and away from them. Does manage to make it into the safe zone, but he was kind of the forerunner for his team. The rest of them are way back behind them. Infantry hears those shots, going to make their way back down towards Prison Island themselves. FaZe on the move. They've got Na'Vi up above them, and it's going to be Skeet that actually gets taken down from good shots from Mix.
Nexi's not done either, though. He's looking for DMG. He tries on by as Hammer Gaming will continue to go past FaZe.
Next wave is kind of set up, looking through them, and you can see using those bikes, trying to make their way through the hills, using the trees to get a little bit more cover, a little bit more space off of it. Tenantwatt's going to be coming back behind that. I don't think that he's on the motorcycle, so going to be a little bit more dangerous for him. DMGs get caught up in a shots with Ace, who does manage to get the down and the flush onto one of them. Looking around, seeing that second's going to come through. Vehicles are just crashing down around. Tenantwatt wanted to come in and go for the save, but instead Joy just tears him apart.
Some party tricks coming out from Tenantwatt. Unfortunately, he gets sent packing, though. Mickey and Joy hold on at the edge of Valdemar. And I think you're not going to want to have, at least for Phase 2, too many teams inside of the city. It's such a passive play.
Valdemar is so
you want to hold
crazy.
the edge.
If you think about the way the train, we don't see very many circles end up around there, but look at it as we're looking through from critical motion off to the left. You saw that there's so many different levels of this, so many different points that you have to play around. You can see that so many people are playing
This
these
is
spots.
still-
It's so hard.
Still very likely to shift away from Valdemar. Onto the far left, it's got that mountain range. It's considered water for the water setting. So it's not guaranteed just yet. If you go into Valdemar, it's so hard to come out of it.
At 100% true. I mean, there's a couple of like sneaky paths that you can try to use. Maybe try to get the bridge and use it for cover if you decide to shift back over towards the west.
I think
there's
both
not a
are in
lot
a
of
great
driving
spot.
west, really. But I mean, this is everybody's been talking about we want to see evil circles. Well, we're getting a good one right now. So 59 alive. I know there's not been a lot of death and destruction, but that's
It could get really evil.
it's going to be the next circle is whenever everything's just going to go chaos incarnate. And looks like T1's Helen still having a little bit of trouble making their way into safe zone as VC is doing a little bit of a gatekeeping position as well.
Yeah, 59 alive. Only 5 deaths inside of the first 12 minutes.
And
In
the
12
circle,
seconds time, we head into Phase 3.
and the circle's only about 2.5 kilometers at this point. You can see on the map, everybody is just stacked up. It is just team
Ministel,
packs
sir.
everywhere.
Do it. One
Just go.
time. Never mind.
That's I like
tried.
it.
I
But-
tried.
Okay, but look at how much that we still have the canal in play. That's going to be a big factor for it. Infantry still has a little bit of play on that one smidgen that's still inside there,
Well,
but that's the bridge that they'd have to cross or swim
Infantry's
across.
got to
They need
cross the
move now.
bridge right now and get inside of Valdemar. Like, that's the only play.
It's almost any point that they choose to move now is going to be very, very risky coming out for them. So nice shots, as you can see. Look at the lineup going through back this. Ski just runs
He
right
wasn't
into
even going for skate.
He's like, oh, well, I'll just go and take
my
that in the
God.
air. Oh, God, FaZe, you guys are so good.
He was not even shooting him.
Well, I mean, that happens
Driving into the
sometimes.
sight lines, that's just horribly unlucky. It really hasn't been
Duckman's.
Armory Gaming's day at all today. Duckman's, well, it hasn't been his day either.
So we do have the Toby eye tracking popping up. You can see he's just hearing all the movement around him, trying to figure out, okay, where am I vulnerable from? What's going to happen next? Just hammered up right against that wall. Circle did pop up in towards his favor, so he's back towards the western part of the circle. Valdemar still being part of it.
This has worked out amazingly for Tempo Storm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody, they're actually pretty centered right now and in a pretty decent position as well. You were talking about how many teams are going to opt into crashing into Valdemar. I think that's going to be a big factor because once you move into that spot, you have to know it's just going to be a catastrophe to try to leave.
Infantry is the only one that's so far had to have done it because they were, of course, on the South Island and they had to cross the bridge going inside of the city. Rascal Jester's just holding the edge on the east coast of the city. So, I mean, that's fine. They're not really inside of it. They got an easy escape point. Entus Ace, of course, are on the north side. And well, Duckmans is by himself. So
I do like this rotation from BC where they just come down. They know that nobody's going to be back over the west. So you have to think about funnel points whenever you think about circles, right? Okay, whenever you start moving back down to the south and the west over and over again, making that move over towards the west, you know that's where the least amount of players are going to be at. But that means not very many kills to be had either.
Giannis creeping up close. You actually don't really see this sort of close fights this early on. I guess on Miramar, we saw the knockdown from Draskell. Are they aware of his position? I wouldn't be entirely certain of this. He's been a bit of a ninja.
He's so far away from his teammates. He's about almost 200 meters away, probably 150 meters bare minimum. Giannis really wants to get this, but the moment he takes the shot, he has got to lean into this hillside and hope that his teammates have cover fire.
Oh, he's got to be so careful of Vegas, though. If he takes a shot onto Shrimsy or Draskell, Vegas has got the higher, better position. He's going to go
lines it up.
It's greedy. Can he get the second one onto Shrimsy? Even if he does solely from above, he's only got 2 health. There's Vegas, but it's actually Moody who's going to get the knockdown onto Giannis. Still damage done. 2 knocked onto Ghost Gaming.
Oh, FaZe getting caught up in a little bit of a skirmish with Gex. You can see Uba looking around, one down off on one side of this, so FaZe still running the numbers. Jaiwei's in a little bit of trouble. Leo looking back down through those bars. Got to be very careful in that banister when you're taking those shots. Mixie, we already saw that beautiful kill he got just a second ago. Looking around, trying to figure out how the approach is going to be coming through from Gex. Jaiwei in a lot of trouble, but Aitzy's still way off in the distance, so it's really a 3v2 right now. Red Canids is kind of supervising the fight, taking shots off onto one side of it. New circle's going to pop. We're going to move back over towards the east, so this fight is going to be very, very dangerous. Needs to end pretty quickly as Red Canids are still posted up around it, so everybody's just kind of taking a second, figuring out what's going on around them.
And this is where that congestion around Valdemar and the eastern side of the city is going to come into question now for phase number 4. Great feed for Vendetta. They're going to love this position inside of the zone for phase number 4. As FaZe looking to finish off Gex. Mexi from the stairs will get the knockdown. And he'll go for the quick flush as well. FaZe Clan looking to finish off the day strong, and they will eliminate Gex.
With this, now they have to be very careful of Red Canids, but Red Canids still caught up looking back over towards Jin G. Nice shots coming out from Aspu, gets the down onto him. Got to be very cautious, those. Looking around, knows the fact that whenever you're playing the tops of these hills, your silhouette makes you very, very vulnerable. So when you take those shots, you need to retreat back. I know he wanted to get that point. FaZe is trying to make that push through. Fuzzface just narrowly gets out of that vehicle before it explodes. You can see Red Canids still looking back down there, but it's going to be a COD that actually takes down Rusty Zira and gives more space for FaZe now. That is so huge. That's going to give them the opportunity to move. Psycho's taking a lot of damage, and Haspu, he's not off on this angle right now.
Yeah, they're in trouble here, Red Canids. They had a 2-2 split, and they got pushed from both T1 and FaZe, both on the 2 splits. So now they're just completely outnumbered on both sides of the coin here. And he's going to be stolen by Critical Motion as Uber finishes off Rusty Zera.
5 kills, about to be 6. This is FaZe Clan on fire right now.
Sunday it is for Red Canids.
I mean, this is going to be really rough for Haspu. He's got to figure out what he's going to do next. They were really trying to capitalize on 2 different teams at once, and it felt like they bit off a little bit more than they could chew. Now, FaZe looking off on one angle. T1's got this. Infantry still looking back over towards Rascal Jester. Look at how many teams now crouching in around that little piece of Valdemar still in play.
Infantry have had a very interesting game so far.
FaZe making their push on foot, has to be very cautious. That's going to be Ace next to them. I mean, we've only got 3 kills on Ace right now and a ton sitting back over towards FaZe. You can see the leaderboard is presently tied 54-54. So if these teams end up scrapping, that could let us know who our leader is going to be. And FaZe looks like they want to push along this angle. So Joy's got the front portion position, looking back down towards it. But T1 wants to be involved in this. Ace gets the shot back over towards Mickey, does manage to connect back over towards Fuzzface. Now everybody on FaZe kind of stops for a second. They see inside the kill feed. They know who they're going against. You can see it's utility galore coming out. They know that this is going to be a tough fight. Ace has the positions, looking back down towards it, and it's going to be VC that's actually mopping this off. It's going to be Tide that's approaching from this other angle and just doing so much damage over towards FaZe. It's only Uba alive with 1 hit point right now.
Darkman might save the day. He's going to get the knockdown onto Tide. It was coming from behind. Never mind. That'll be the end of FaZe Clan in 15th position. And I think you can say that will mean Entus Ace into first, 55 points. It's not over yet, though. It's over the battle for first. Vendetta still alive. Great spot for
Duckmans.
43 points. Duckmans goes down to Domi, and that's Armory Gaming in 14th, and unfortunately means they will play on Sunday.
So with this, you can see VC still trying to make the approach up. They managed to help out Ace by quite a bit, but now finding themselves in the exact same spot that FaZe was at. There's a lot of people taking those shots back down towards them. I think it's only one member alive, and that's going to be DJ Boy trying to figure out where to go, and Navi's peppering off to one side. Now he's got to figure out, okay, what do I do? He is right on top of Ace. If he makes any movements, they could potentially hear him. I mean, if they even peek further, a little bit further forward, they could see him.
Yeah. Phase number 5. Edge in a decent position for Vendetta, but they want to still hold on top. They know that T1's close by. They know that Enter's Ace is close by as well.
T1's trying to make the push back down here. Raspu, last guy alive. T1's moving around them. He's not inside the safe zone. The blue is about to start forcing everybody to push down along this line. So Raspu could find himself in a spot to maybe get one more kill. You never know. He could potentially inflict enough damage to get some more out of it, but...
It's only 2 here for T1 as well. It's only
no.
Jeff Locker and Hallen.
They're not even looking through the windows. They're not expecting this. He could turn up, do a ton of damage. Hallen walks through, goes for the spray onto it, follows it up as he's going. Does manage to get the flush. Now he's been given away. Shots are coming through. Jeff Locker can't line up onto it. Hasbro didn't take a lot of damage out of that. Goes for the peek back through the window. Gets the spray, a little bit more damage. Is he going to see the third one? No, he is not. And that's going to be Red Canids taken down in 13th place.
Wow, really thought it was going to get the knockdown onto Jeff Locker, but all that shooting now is invited. Enters Ace over to the party. Joy beeline straight over towards T1. They want to clear that northern side before pushing south into the circle, and then eventually dealing with Vendetta. Ada with a knockdown onto Joy, though, and that will halt their progress for now. And DJ Boy from VC in the map, you can see in the mini-map, is actually pushing him behind Enters Ace.
One member down for Ace. You can see Ghost also caught up in that skirmish with G2 for quite a while now. Tempo Storm also looking back on this direction. So Envy also in this location. A lot of people stacked up on top of each other, and that's just how this part of Miramar can play out. Got to be super cautious. Drassler trying to go for the shot back on that. That would have been a beautiful one, but goes a little bit wide onto it. Gen G now crashing back over next to Vendetta. Edge is just holding this line. Is he going to see it? Goes for the spray, and he is instantly dropped.
Yeah, 3 left now for Vendetta. You can see in 8th position right now, Na'Vi, 29 points, still alive. In 9th, it's Envy on 23. They're going to need to start finding points here. As we get towards the late game, they need to catch up. And because Na'Vi's still alive, it's going to make it harder if they don't start finding kills.
There's so many teams right along this. Nelaz is going to have to walk through. It looks to be about 14 people bare minimum in order to make it inside the safe zone. Envy is playing the low ground right outside of Ghost's complex. So the moment that Ghost has to move out of this, they can just catch them, pick up their free points. But Tempo Storm is thinking the same thing about where we see Envy's position at. T1's trying to make their push through. DJ Boy's trying to get the spray back over towards Alpaca. Does manage to get the down onto that, but he has now given away his position, and he's got the blue right back behind him. Does manage to get the flush onto it, but it's going to be a dangerous run from here on out.
DC Gaming picking up some very valuable points to keep them inside of the top 8. They were 8th coming into this game. Icon, no, he's got T1 pushing up. It's a cat. He gets the knockdown. Icon can't stop him with the rock. 2 remain for Vendetta. Non-reg and critical motion. They're a bit further back south as we're going to see Nelos go down. G2 Esports will go out in 12th. Following very quickly is VC's DJ Boy. They hold on to the top 8 for now, Matchroom, but will they finish in the 8 by the end of this game?
One thing to note, look at Pio's position up to the north of the rest of his teammates with Gen G. He was right over there next to T1. He was trying to get a little bit of information, hear how this was playing out. This spread is going to give them a lot of information control. Look at Pio. He has these angles back over towards Envy, can take the shots at them. As they move down this hillside, all of these teams are going to find themselves in a very difficult position as Gen G is holding the high side with 1 person and 3 holding the low. So Envy, Ghost now caught up in that skirmish. As you can see, Ghost has moved out, now starting to get a little bit scrappy over here as Tempo Storm is hearing this, thinking about participating as well.
Of course, all 3 North American teams.
I've never seen this happen before, ever. North America killing North America at an international event, but it's like Envy, they need those points, and
Envy needs to get rid of Ghost, like right now. Nice shot from Pat Caps onto Drassel. And they follow it up, though. They need the squad wipe. They need the points and the kills that come with it. Shrimsy and McCoy's still alive. The blue is now starting to move.
So Moody's playing the front position on this, trying to get the grenades up. Does manage to flush out Drassel. The rest of the guys on Ghost realize, nope, we don't want to take the risk onto this. We want to make sure we hold a great position. We want that 3rd place spot, so they're going to make their way down this hillside. But that's into the sight lines of Gen G. They have to be so cautious. Catch a little bit of airtime. They're going to bounce.
Too much air.
There's so much shots. The vehicle explosion takes down Ghost in 9th place.
Oh, they gave the points over to Gen G rather than Envy, as Damon now with a knockdown onto Moody. Moody actually found a knockdown onto Sharp Shot, so they're really in the thick of the action here against both Gen G and potentially Tempo Storm. And Envy's still got to keep finding a spot inside the circle. Pio's just been knocked down and finished off by Wesker.
Envy was trying to get those points onto Ghost. They needed them so desperately. Now they found themselves in a terrible spot trying to run down this hillside. Pride has somehow managed to make it down through this, but he still has a little bit further to go. Tempo Storm just waiting off to the side of this. Maybe they can clear out a path for him. Maybe they won't spot him, but he's just got to creep up back behind it.
31 points. That is the mark that must be reached now for the teams in the bottom 8, because VC, of course, are out. Na'Vi are still alive. They're still picking up points slowly but surely. Non-Red's knocked down onto Jeff Locker, but a nice trade from Adder will get critical motion. Non-Red, no, he's clean with a headshot. Never mind, a CAD. He's going to be cleaner. And in the end, Vendetta go out in 8th. But still, what a day for them.
So now, Gen G still holding that lower position, getting a little bit more aggressive, moving up the hillside. They hear the violence that's happening around them. They know T1 has taken a little bit of damage. They are going to try to capitalize off this move up, maybe get an extra couple of kills out of it, but that means the fact that they are surrendering a little bit of that lower ground position. I don't think that's too bad. The high ground feels so strong inside of this circle, gives you so many great sight lines. Esther, off to one side, team in, slowly creeping up. Seems like everybody from T1 is aware of it. Smokes are out. Be cautious. Grenade does come through. One down comes out from Gen G instantaneously. That's another one. Gen G is starting to take control over this hillside.
Are making a huge climb for the top 8. Can I just say, they're into the top 10 now. At one point, they were 13th at Trim. Where has this come from for Gen G? They've left it to the last game.
It's all coming down to this last moment. They are just dodging bullets from Tempo Storm as they're running down through back to their home that they've been living at for quite a while. With the high ground position, they have to make it all the way towards those buildings. Like, they have to be right on top of them to finally deny the sightline onto it. A lot of damage coming through. Look at that. Esther just on 1 hit point somehow coming through this. Meanwhile, Infantry Gaming, they need a big game of their own.
Yeah.
So looking back over towards us, slowly creeping up, it's going to be pushing over towards Tempo Storm. The rivalry continues. These guys seem to just absolutely hate each other. Is Tempo Storm aware that they're going to creep up onto this? Looks like grenades are starting to come out. Flashbang's going to give away their position. Tempo Storm shifting away from this right now.
Tempo Storm are going to be through to next week. Infantry Clan need to find kills as soon as possible. Might get a chance here against Zampa and Miluk. Never mind, they're able to get over the ridgeline, so they're safe for now. Zampa ditches the fight, turns around, tries to get shots on the Infantry
There's no
Clan,
cover.
and the rivalry continues, but it's Infantry Clan who's coming out ahead.
2 members on Tempo Storm already down. The other 2 were in the lower position that Infantry could not find. So there's 3 members of Infantry making their way down the hillside. Grenades are going to roll, but not far enough. So now Infantry is going to have to look back down this hillside. There's not a lot of cover pieces to play around. Sharp shot. Miluk looking back up towards the sharp shots, running around that grenade.
Pretty good.
Be very cautious onto it. That's going to be enough damage to drop him. Now it is just Miluk, but there is an exchange. It is a 2v1. Tons of smoke coming to do. Gen G's taking the shot. Tempo Storm is eliminated, and it's going to be Infantry Gaming running down with 1 member. But what type of victory is it going to be, as it's going to be Infantry also getting eliminated?
Yeah, straight away, they bow out in 5th position. They were close, but not close enough. Gen G 3 points away from a top 8 position. A cat gets the knockdown onto Pokemolodoy. That's all it'll be. Bestaloch will send T1 packing, but Gen G have absolutely climbed a mountain here.
Well, let's not forget Na'Vi was also needing a pretty big game themselves.
Well,
so
Na'Vi is safe now. They're in the top 8.
Yeah, they're feeling good, but this is going to be a very fun game. And let's not forget, Rascal Jester Whisker, which is one of the hardest names on the face of the earth to say, still alive, holding that 3rd place position.
You can see it on the live rankings. RJ 25 points. I just don't think there's enough points there left for them to climb above VC, but for Gen G,
1.
Well, it depends on what the kills are. For tiebreak, but 2 points is what you want.
Yeah, so it's really just getting those extra couples. So can Na'Vi hold the line and deny Gen G those points they so desperately need? Is anybody going to spot out Wesker at this point?
There goes Wesker.
Yeah, and that's going to be Esther that picks it up. That's going to be really big for them.
That's it.
That shifts them
Gen
up
G are into the top
31.
8.
They got that 8th place, so they're perfectly fine right now. So now what do they do next? It's just Na'Vi and Gen G, and I feel like this is... We've been putting a lot of pressure on Pio and on his shoulders, saying the fact that this is kind of the feature player for Gen G, but the rest of the team is performing so strong right now. Look at these shots they're hitting onto Na'Vi.
Dozy finished off 3 up for Gen G. And it's 3 for Na'Vi. 3v3 for game number 6. The final game of the day for Group 1.
look at the positioning and how they're playing this. You can see Gen.G is just trying to make a line through the center, where we have Navi that's kind of pushing off to the side of it, but that's going to put a little bit more pressure on the movement for this. So now Navi has to be super cautious. They have to watch every angle. Loki getting that high ground way off in the distance. Esther on the other side of this. That could put him in a pincered position. Navi has to fight their way out of this. Demon's trying to get the shots on one angle. Navi is right up on top of each other. They have to be so cautious. Flashbangs come out, trying to line up anything off of it. That's going to be one down on a Pokemon all the way. That's going to be Loki on the high ground. Demon's just holding this, buying so much time. He's holding the aggro of the entire team.
They can't deal with Loki, but they got Esther now down to 2. Nice shots on the team, and the nade to follow from Senya. Perfectly timed and perfectly placed. And Na'Vi are now down to a 2 versus 1. Loki, can he come up clutch for Gen.G and come away with the win to close off the first day of PGC?
Loki needs to look back down towards the left, see if he sees anybody that's weakened. Gonna instead take the shots back over, back down to a 2v1. It's back into a 1v1. Loki's looking around. It's a peak battle back and forth. Instead, gonna go out for the Molotovs. Gonna go a little bit far. He just wants to get the kills that he can get. Pokemolodoy, Loki playing around this hillside. The blue is coming in. We're in the last circle right now. Loki patiently waiting to see how's this peak gonna go through. This is so nerve-wracking for both players. Loki's wanting to play it aggressive, while Pokemolodoy is just trying to play off the smokes. Kill the player, so that way he can't feed information based off of his positioning. So now, it's just looking around. Pokemolodoy is trying to find the angle. Does manage to spot up towards Loki. Loki has to be so cautious, but the reposition does pay off. Going out for another flashbang, just trying to get a little bit more space off of this thing if he can get it. That is a ton of flashbangs out, but it's back behind the rock for Pokemolodoy. Loki's just going to flush out another one. So Pokemolodoy, Loki still playing around this hillside.
Still a lot of time here with the blue. Pokemolodoy doesn't have to rush this. He's still got the rock, but Loki ever closer, creeping towards the center. Headshot in range here for Loki, now at the tree. Pokemolodoy and Loki both out of utility. They've used everything they've got here. Only the 2 times on the F416 for Loki. Lands the headshot. Does he have the heals though? Loki's pushing out. Loki picks up the headshot win. 3v1 in the end against RV. And what a way for Gen.G to close out day number 1. 12 kill win into the top 8.
Gen.G, every single time you doubt them, they just turned it on, and a big performance coming out of that last game. You can see sighs of relief, feeling like, okay, that should have gotten us there. That should have been enough. Doing the quick math inside their head, but great performance coming out from them and Na'Vi in those last couple of circles.
And for Na'Vi, not just that game, but the last 3 games. First, third, and second, a great way for them to finish off day number 1. Of course, they'll be in the top 8 as well, Matrium. And I think for Gen.G, at one point, or at least from what I saw on the rankings and the live rankings, they were 13th position. That was during that game 6, the last game of the day. They are now in the top 8.
But that's what you want from these teams. We're talking the best teams in the world. You want to be able to rebound. You want to prove the fact that, okay, sure, we had a bad game. We had 2 bad games, but we can still turn it on when we need to. We can get as many points as we have to at any given stage. We are a world competitor, and we can play in those clutch positions. Think about it. We just had an international for PUBG come down to a 1v1 between some of the best players in the world. That is just one of the hardest positions to play from.
In reality, it was a 3v1.
True.
in the end, Loki had the decent position, and look, for Gen.G, they played the risky play. The 1-1-1 split ended up working. Na'Vi were a bit closer, looking for the rock, and in the end, it backfired, but it was close. It could have gone either way in the end, really.
That's a huge play come out from Loki. And remember, he was the high ground guy. He had to move back down into that position and then fight it out.
That did help out, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that Na'Vi was expecting that first down off that angle. They were just like, wait, the other guys were over here. Where did that one come from? But great performance from both of those teams. I really love to see that Na'Vi turn it on there towards the end. I know Sim's been pushing for Na'Vi, saying how amazing they are, so he's going to be super happy watching that. And Gen.G, again, just coming out whenever they need to in those clutch positions.
Yeah, I think Na'Vi showing more of that consistency rather than the flair. They just got the job done when it mattered in the end, and that was the way they sort of slowly built into the day. And on the other end, they came out at the right time where you want to be inside of the top 8. For a team like VC Gaming, for example, started strong, and then they find themselves outside of the top 8, right?
I'm kind of curious, are we starting to see these, we alluded to it a second ago with like Infantry Gaming and Tempo Storm having a little bit of rivalry. We're starting to see that come out with maybe a little bit of Ace and what's going on with FaZe as they were going back and forth there. A lot of these teams start to feel like they've been scrimming for a week, so they kind of get a feel for each other, but now it's starting to be a little bit more than that, it feels like. It's like we know we can take these guys, so whenever they get it down, they'll make the push. Yeah. They're playing a little bit more aggressive towards what they feel that they can win. And I love that we're starting to get a little bit more of a storyline develop out from the history of PUBG now.
Yeah, and I wonder if